So it's Your Lie in April time, huh?
So it's Your Lie in April time.
Oh, God.
The most inevitable moment of history ever. Uneducation Station episode 5, the Your Lie in April special.
Yes.
Now, to many people listening right now, you may think, it wasn't that sad.
Was it, though? Was it not that sad?
It was pretty sad.
It was
to
pretty
a bunch
sad.
of music nerds like us, it was very sad.
It was very sad.
So I made the unfortunate mistake of my role as the first-time anime guru, as one might say. And I broke my own rules of my flowchart, Google Docs, Microsoft Paint, Microsoft Excel sheet. Excuse me. I broke the rules, and I made Zach watch a different anime from my flowchart. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, it was Your Lie in April.
Yeah, my anime Sherpa did me dirty.
Hey man, his second ever anime was Your Lie in April, and I'm so sorry.
Okay, well, to be fair, you brought up the idea to me.
To be fair, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and you told me that it was going to be a sad boy anime, and I was
did.
totally okay with that. And I didn't really realize at the time how sad it was going to be and how much it was going to hit me in the feels.
Oh, because, Zach, you thought it was just a mere drawing. You
you
thought it was just a drawing, Zach.
I know.
Just like everybody else thought it was a drawing. Truth be told, it's more to that. There is more to that. So I made the unfortunate mistake of having his second ever anime be a sad boy anime. And what better sad boy anime than Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso, or Your Lie in April. So, I mean, either way, so the reason why I brought it up and the reason why I thought to break the flowchart to get you to watch it was because we both really like music.
Right.
We do. And I was thinking, well, man, it would be cool to watch a music anime with them. And I was thinking, well, I haven't really technically watched that many music animes, technically. Or at least like anything like remotely close to music theory type stuff. And there may be some idol stuff or whatever, but hey, music is music. But I never really watched anything or that was very technical. But then I thought of Your Lie in April, like, oh, that's pretty technical. It's about classical music. And it's about performing.
Right.
And we're both performers.
Yes.
As you mentioned in your origin story in the first episode, you're a performer. You performed in competitions of jazz competitions, high school, college, all that stuff. That you could probably say it again in this one a little bit. It'll be a little bit of reiteration, but you did all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
You were staged. You may not have been center stage, but hey, you took some solos.
Yeah, and I have done some center stage stuff, like the ASL show, and I also did some musical theater stuff, which was really fun. So music is one of those things for me that's just kind of a part of my heart and soul, and so, Your Lie in April, I realized now with the power of hindsight was like it was the perfect anime, but at the same time it was just so fucking sad.
Yeah, I know. I know. To be honest, I wasn't thinking of the drama aspect of it. I was just thinking of they perform. We'll get some goosebumps from that, and we did. But we got a little bit more with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, did you like it? Just in general, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. Okay. See, I'm not a bad person.
You're not. No,
I'm not that bad.
Not that bad.
I'm not that bad. You're just kind of an asshole. You could have waited a little bit till I watched like 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, no, but it was one of those shows that I didn't really realize that I needed to watch until I watched it, and then
yeah, I'm glad you watched it.
Yeah, because I had a similar effect to watching it that you did, because I remember you telling me after you watched Your Lie in April, you decided to get back into music, and that ended up kickstarting all of the stuff that you do now with the piano tweets and all of that kind of stuff, and you have become an amazing piano player, I should just say, coming from somebody who is a mediocre piano player.
Well, maybe if I practice my skills and be diligent about it, maybe I can be better. But no, Your Lie in April, it did bring back my love for music, 100%. And as cringe as it sounds, even though it's just a drawing, by the way. No, I'm gonna keep making that joke because everybody wants to make that joke to me. I'm gonna just say it back because it's not just a drawing.
Right.
And this anime was a very big example of how just a drawing can fuck you up. very hard.
Yes.
And I mean fuck you up. So there's tons of sad anime out there. There's tons that, maybe, it's subjective, of course, but might be sadder than this or not as sad, but pretty sad. There's tons of that genre, the emotional sappy boy, sad boy hours, Drake hours type of animes. And Your Lie in April, the reason why this one resonates with me the most, and it's not for me, the most sad anime in my opinion is Clannad, pronunciation, Clannad. Clannad? No, Clannad, I think is how you pronounce it. You'll probably never watch it in your lifetime, Zach. You need to watch way more anime before I allow you. I'm gatekeeping you from it, because if you watch it, you will be devastated. Like, imagine me devastated.
Fair enough. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the sad. Everybody complained, it was kind of boring. No, this is because you got bored of the character development. You got bored of the entire first season, 20 episodes. Or 24 episodes of just character development and nothing else. You got bored of that. I sat there and I ingested that into my brain and into my soul. And then the next season hit, and shit hit hard. All 20 plus episodes of character development. All for it to go awry. But that's not what the point of this episode is. This episode is about Your Lie in April and why it resonates with us, because even though it might not be the saddest anime for you, it was one of the saddest for me, and for you as well. I mean, it's the only sad one you've watched, but we both equally feel that because of the music theory, because of the performing, because all the little things of this anime, from the music itself to the writing of the characters to the animation and everything that comes with it. We talk so much about it. So now this is the episode where we can just let free. So I'm gonna say this literally in the beginning of the episode. Spoiler warning.
Yes.
We're just gonna jump. We've already touched on Your Lie in April multiple times in the previous episodes. Okay,
but we're going like.
But this is balls to the walls. Red Bull, coffee. We're just Zach. We might have time.
Yeah.
we might have ourselves the time.
No, we are guaranteed to go off the rails in many, many different ways.
Now, Zach, you see one of these.
Yes.
These may or may not be alcoholic beverages.
Right.
All right. So the thing about this is that I turned 21 last week. It was a great time. I'm now 21 years old.
Right.
Are you ready to have a time, Zach?
Yes.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. This is 1800 silver. I'm not an experienced alcoholic. I don't drink alcohols. I usually don't. These are gifts from my relatives. My family isn't usually drinkers. Well, my parents aren't. The rest of my family are alcoholics. But
sick.
But I like to. I'll get loose. Let's have a go, Zach.
Let's have a go. Yeah, this is my version of getting loose.
This is ooh. Ooh, I wish I would have poured that. Oh. I don't know how what is this? How do I check alcohol 40%?
40% or 40 proof?
What does that mean? It just says 40%.
Okay. Then it's 40%.
Okay.
I was going to say, if it's 40 proof, then that's some pussy shit. But
okay. Okay, experienced alcoholic.
All right. Calm your tits.
Alcohol content?
Content,
40%.
Okay. That's a substantial helping.
Okay, cool. Plenty more where that came from. I wish I brought a glass. I should have probably. It's okay. We'll proceed.
You're just drinking it straight?
I'm just going to drink it straight.
All right, okay.
I'm not a pussy.
Okay, so
21, by the way.
Yes.
Drink responsibly. Zach isn't 21. I'm not letting him drink alcohol in my household.
Yes.
You're not 21 yet, though. When you turn 21, though, then our podcast might be a little more lively. No, I'm just kidding. This is going to make me seem like I've never... This is literally like... I haven't drank... This is actually my first time drinking just hard liquor.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. On my birthday. But other than my birthday, this is the second time I've only ever drank hard liquor at my own leisure, right?
Yeah.
Might have had a couple of parties or whatever, but I've never, I just need to preface it before people get the wrong impression, okay?
Yes.
I can stop anytime. I don't have a problem.
Okay, so oh my gosh, where do we even start? Okay,
Let's start in the beginning, Zach. Oh, well, you can go ahead.
Okay, this remind me to get back to this when we start talking about the performances, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm going to fucking
Let's synopsis it. Let's
okay.
synopsis first.
Synopsis is
Synopsis.
I've been doing a lot of the synopses.
I did the last one though.
Did you do the last one?
I did no. I'll do it again. Yeah, I'll do it again. Okay, so
You bonked it.
Hmm?
You bonked your mic.
I did bonk my mic. That means I have to edit it out. That's my fault. Okay, I get it. I did it myself. I'm sorry. So, Your Lie in April is a music anime. If you couldn't tell, it's about classical music and it's about performing. But it is a drama. So, there's a lot of tragedy and it's a romance as well. So there's a lot of tragedy and it's a lot of this and that. So it's a roller coaster to say the least. And I've both watched the anime and read the manga. So I've had a lot of different experiences with this. And, excuse me. It's a toughie. It really is. I know a lot of people, they tell me like Your Lie in April isn't that sad, but for someone like us who are performers who have been there in that type of anxiety, of course we don't have that type of same dilemma, a unique dilemma that we can't hear the notes or anything. But basically what the show is about Kosei, which is the main character, or one of the main characters, who is a pianist who used to be a performer. But at some point his mom, who is, well, let's just say she doesn't have the award of best mom ever. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Quite maybe the opposite.
Yeah, I in the Erased episode I called her worst mom.
That you did. Well warranted, but yeah, she abused him and all this sorts of stuff, and he said some bad things, and we'll talk about that more. But basically, his punishment from his mom, quote unquote, who passed away, is that because that relationship that they had, he wasn't able to hear music anymore. So when he played piano, he just couldn't hear the notes. So it's a little bit of fiction, right? Because obviously you don't hear that. But the way it's described, it's so interesting. Like,
yeah, it's like
it's a very poetic anime. First of all, it's a lot of inner monologuing, dialogue, very poetic, very artsy.
Yeah, and I love
like Edgar Allan Poe type.
Yeah, basically. And I love how the way that they animated that is they made it seem like he was underwater. Yeah. And so he was sitting there trying to play the piano, trying to play the notes, and it just he couldn't hear anything. Hear
because you can't under the water. Like, it's just darkness and you just hear the bubbles and that's what they imagine. It's a very good representation.
Right.
Obviously, of course, not a real thing that could, I don't know, maybe, who knows, but generally not a real thing that can happen to someone who has fine hearing, right? But sorry, I'm just gonna put this away. I need to move this aside for a little before I accidentally just drink it like it's water.
and then
he meets this girl named Kari. Miyazono Kari, and she's a violinist. The classic piano violin accompanist type of thing, and she is the opposite of Kosei. So Kosei was grown to play the sheet as the quote unquote the composer intended. So note for note, timing, tempo by tempo. There's no straying from it, and it's a way to and he wins a bunch of awards and competitions like that because he plays exactly the way the judges want to hear it. Because the judges, what they're looking for is accuracy, and his accuracy is so dead on that people they're like, oh, he's plays so dead on, he's not having fun, he's a metronome,
human metronome.
Human metronome is what they call him, and that's the kind of life he led, and once he wasn't able to play anymore because he couldn't hear the music, he quit music and all that sort of stuff. But then he met Miyazono Kari, who's a violinist who is wanting to, or has a crush on his best friend Watari. And that's kind of how the story goes. I have a friend, or I have a crush on my, or the person I have a crush on has a crush on my friend. That's basically the romance aspect of it. So it's this massive love triangle, or love square, if you will.
Yeah.
No, it's just a love fucking mess. A love twister.
Yeah, because it's oh gosh, Kosei has a crush on Kaori, who has a crush on Watari, and then
Tsubaki has a crush on Kosei.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's listen, all right.
It's a clusterfuck.
It's a clusterfuck, but that's what adds a development to it. Because, but there's a reason it's like that, and it's crazy, and we'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
that's basically what it is. And what happens is Kaori, she is the opposite of Kosei. She is having her go with the arrangement. She has the arrangement that she's playing in the first recital, first concert of the show, and we'll talk about that. Where she's just like. She takes the arrangement that everybody else plays because it's a recital. Everybody's playing the same one and they're being judged off of it. But she doesn't take the arrangement, I guess, seriously is the best way to put it. She's playing it. She's having a go. She's making the arrangement her own. She's jumping around. She's sweating. She's plucking. She's doing all sorts of stuff. And it's a lot of fun to watch. And at this point, it's where Kosei starts to like see a different type of music. It's where it's not just metronoming. It's not just accuracy. It's about having fun, and you're not tied or bound to some sort of unwritten laws. You're allowed to have fun. You're allowed to be expressive, and this is what brings a new type of color into Kosei's music. And that's basically what the show is about. It's about finding himself, being able to perform, and well, the dramatic hardships between it.
Yeah. And oh my gosh. Okay. Now that we kind of dabbled into the performances, can we talk about the performances just briefly?
Yeah, so the first performance, right?
Oh my god.
We talked about it in the first episode, but listen, the finer details that nobody cares about. And they're like, "What the Arthur Zach? What are you talking about?" No, listen. When they opened the stage or they opened the theater, right?
Yeah.
We walked into the theater hall, and he's describing it as like the stale air and the sound of the feeling of dust and
the smell of dust.
The smell of dust, and this very weird niche specific description of just a concert hall. But we're like, oh, we're freaking out.
Yeah.
We're like sweating. We have like goosebumps.
Okay, literally I before any of the performances even started, I told Arthur, I was like, stop it for a second.
Pause, please.
Pause. And so I was literally just sitting there describing to him, like, I literally, just from watching that happen, I've literally never seen a more accurate representation of what one of those competitions looks like.
Yeah.
Because I had been doing them for 10 years, 11 years. And so that environment is very familiar to me.
Yeah.
And you remember from your time of performing.
Yes, of course I do. Yeah.
And so when you get shown such an accurate representation from the perspective of somebody who, number one, doesn't want to be there, and number two, is watching one of his friends go up on stage, just the secondhand anxiety.
Oh yeah,
just like,
it's crazy.
It's just like,
but it's not even just like it's the audience too, like seeing the theater hall itself and how accurate it is, like the seating arrangement. There's all these weird things, and the couple people that have got their seats early, and just weird small details.
Right.
That just captures so close to our hearts, but it's true. It really is. That's how it is. That's how performing was when we were in school and when you were in school, and we hadn't been on the stage for a very long time at this point. Me longer than, or you've been on the stage longer than I have, but still it's been quite a while, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while. So being able to see that, just kind of me forcing it in front of your face. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at this, Zach.
Yeah.
It's like you're a drug addict. And then and you've been clean for like 3 years, and I was like, hey, look at this, and I just shove it in your face.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, I understand. So to get a little bit more into the performance, so Kaori, she goes up on stage, she just fucking goes ham and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And number one, I love the animation of the performances so much because they are so accurate. Literally, they had a different person animating the violin scenes.
Yeah,
they could be accurate.
Yeah, they had someone like playing the actual violin of the song, of the arrangement, and they use that as a reference, like a legitimate reference. So it was accurate. So the expression was accurate, and the swaying and the arm movements and everything.
Yeah.
The oh gosh, what's the word? I'm not thinking of the word, but like you know what I mean? Just basically like it's so accurate. It's to a T, and it's not just like some synthetic couple frames moving around. It's really meticulously articulated, right? Really meticulously thought out.
Right. Yeah. And that's the attention to detail that really shows that there was a lot of love put into this show. And it just keeps getting better from there because, you number one, you get introduced to this environment in a very detailed and accurate way. You have accurate looking performances, which just look fucking phenomenal. And then you see, like, whenever I go on stage for literally any reason whatsoever, by the end of it, I am drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
Just because it's hot lights, I'm anxious, I'm scared.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah.
And so to just see that accurately presented too, and it's just one of those little things where you're like, why do you care if someone's sweating after they performed? Because it's like, I've been there.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been sweating buckets. I'm losing my mind, and to see like the the silence of when they're walking on stage, moving to the cue where you're supposed to stand.
Yeah, the
and
little line,
the line, the lights the spotlights that are pointed at you, and the blackness of the audience. You don't see a single face, because that's one of the things that people have been afraid of. Like, you're afraid of the audience, right? You're afraid of being looked at. But when you are on stage, when there's lights pointed at you, whether it be like for a theatrical performance or for playing music, you don't really see the audience. It's just a blackness.
You can literally only see like the first
the
three
first
rows.
Yeah, if you can, depending on even the lighting, that you might even be able to see the fourth row, right? But it's a pure blackness. But at the same time, you still know they're all there. It helps a little bit consciously, but in a sense, you still know they're there, and that anxiety is still there. But no, the silence, the exaggerated footsteps of the dress shoes clacking on the floor, and like,
that's not even exaggerated, especially with the girls in heels. Like,
no, you're right. No, you're right. It's so to a T, and most of the stuff is a little bit exaggerated, but exaggerated to the point where anybody who's been on stage before gets that, and they're like, that's not that exaggerated.
Yeah, no, it's pretty damn close. And oh my gosh, dude, the music that they chose, like the orchestral pieces that they chose,
yes, their music choices,
so good.
They're so good, and they so accurately represent the emotions that they're feeling at that time, the messages they want to convey, everything about it, from the first performance to the last performance to the side character to the main characters, everything about the music choices, like oh gosh, I don't even want to talk about the final performance, because we literally just opened the jar, we need
at least
a little bit more.
hour.
But I have so much to talk about. The final performance, Zach. I don't know if you want to talk, but I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna chuck the rest of this, and I'm going to talk because I have so much to say, and I've never been able to say it. So I'm going to speak. But
okay.
That's for later.
But let me
ahead.
just kind of unravel the carpet a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
Oh man, the entire end of the show is just so beautifully done. But even just stepping back, just watching how Kosei is basically convinced to try to overcome his fear of performing on stage because he can't hear the notes, and all of these different internal struggles that he's going through because of how he was treated by his mom.
Yeah.
Just watching that slowly happen, and him be able to even just consider it is just like a huge step. And then he goes up on stage, and they do like a flashback from right after his mother passed away, and he stopped in the middle of a performance and just sat there and was just crying. And then in the first performance that Kaori and Kosei did together, that happened. He stopped, and then Kaori was like,
she kept going for a little bit, and then she stopped too.
Yeah, and then she was like, let's start again.
Dude, that again is very pivotal. There's a song called it too in the OST, again. It's very pivotal, and it's a very upbringing, like a inspiring, like you've fallen down, you've given almost given up, and there's faces of despair towards you, and there's glares and all that type of stuff, but you stand up, you look forward, you look back into the blackness, into the lights that are shining into you, and you say, let's try again. And in a recital or in a competition, you're getting marked down for that. She wouldn't have won or anything, but it's not the accompanist that's being judged, it's her, right? So she could have just kept playing her piece, and they would have just judged her piece, and then of course she would have lost points for her accompanist being a shithead, but she would have been fine, but she stopped playing because that's not what she's here for. She's there to have a time.
And the the crazy thing is being in that situation where you have to start over. That is the most nerve-wracking and terrifying thing that you could possibly
I don't
do.
think I've never been to a performance like that where we
I
just
have.
You have?
I have. It's
You just-
fucking sucks.
You just stopped and you just started over?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of a good instance of when that happened. I think it happened like twice when I was in high
Oh
school.
my lord.
Once or twice. I remember there was one piece that I did with the wind ensemble that we just ended up getting lost. Everyone was just like all over the place, and so the conductor just stopped us. And then he was like, "All right, take a deep breath and let's do it again." And that's the most terrifying
So-
thing that
yeah,
you could
it is.
possibly do, and it's so embarrassing because you feel like you let everybody down, and then that just keeps spiraling and spiraling and spiraling, and you're like, what if I can't play it all the way through
Yeah.
now because I just, what if I blew my load too early? Like
Sure, but that's a different instance in anime, because in this instance it's that I'm stopping because I can keep, or Kairi, it's me saying I as a possessive, I can keep going, I can keep playing my violin and maintain my score for the most part.
Right.
But I stopped and I did get disqualified for stopping, and we're gonna play again because I want to play with this accompanist. This is our performance. This isn't some competition.
Yeah, this
bullshit.
is our performance.
This is
not
our
mine.
performance.
Yeah.
So she stopped and she said, "Let's go again."
Yeah.
And she continued, and then he was like, well, "What's happening? This isn't what's normal." And then he continued, and he kept going. He didn't care. He said, "Even if I can't hear anything, even if I can't hear the notes, we're gonna keep playing, and we're gonna see what happens." It's still a fucking mess, but it ended up being their performance, and in the end, the crowd still cheered.
Right.
And
the crowd still cheered. They
The
were
crowd
still
cheered.
excited.
They were excited because it was like this weird roller coaster of just emotions flying around. But no, it was fantastic. Kairi's role in Kosei's development is very important.
I agree. Definitely.
But it's because Kairi pushed him to be able to be on stage with her for that first performance together, the first accompanist performance. Because a lot of it was kind of just like a whole, like she wanted to perform with him and only him, and that's why when he first heard of Kairi's first violin performance by herself, with the accompanist but without Kosei, there was just this new color that was arriving. It's like, what is this? What's happening? Because he always described his world as monotone. I think that was like the first episode or something like that. Or
I don't.
Well,
I
the
don't
beginning.
remember. Yeah,
the
in the
beginning, right? And it was because of Kairi pushing him to play piano. Like he hadn't played piano in like forever, but then in the cafe where he played Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with those girls,
Yeah.
that was like the first introduction to when he couldn't hear the music, and then it had this whole scene and all that, But Kairi, it was at that moment where Kairi was like, "I want you to be my accompanist." That was it. That was that moment. I remember. I think, and that OST played this uplifting thing, and it's this cool thing, and the OST plays so much of a big factor in the show.
my gosh,
the OST
yeah.
is like one of the most beautiful OSTs just to ever, oh gosh, dare I say, exist just in general. It has all sorts of emotions that bring out, from happiness to sadness to sorrow to grief to uplifting and upbringing and confidence and heroics and all sorts of things, and it's a very beautifully composed soundtrack, and the show could not be without it, and it's so great the way it's used. But along with that, it's also the characters that Kairi is, or the role that Kairi has in Kosei for pushing him to go back into music because he had quit, right? But he's like, "No, you're gonna keep playing. You're gonna keep playing. You're gonna be my accompanist. I'm going to give you the sheet music. You're gonna learn it. You're gonna learn it." And he kept avoiding her, right? And
Right.
The day of the performance came, and he wasn't there, and she hunted him down. And it was this cool sequence of like his friends finding him and then them biking over to the hall with like 10 minutes left, and then
Right,
he was starting
yeah,
to see like this kind of youthfulness that he had lost, the color that he had lost, and he was saying this monotone world that I'm in is starting to look a little more colorful for some reason. It's because of this role that Kairi's playing in.
So one thing that you haven't mentioned yet that I really, really appreciated was when Wataru and Kosei were sitting in the music room. They were sitting there talking, and Wataru was talking about how he was in love with a girl, and Kosei was like, "What does it feel like when you fall in love with somebody?"
Mm-hmm.
And Wataru was like, you start to see the world in vivid color.
Yeah.
And then the first time Kosei sees Kaori, it's just like beautiful.
Oh, that whole
colorful.
sequence was so cool. Like her
Yeah.
playing the melodica on the
Yeah.
thing, and like the cherry blossoms and the pink and everything. It's spring,
Yeah.
right? It's spring, and it's super cool.
Also, by the way, it is April.
It is April. Yes, fuck.
Uh,
but no, I know what you mean. Like it's there's that romance aspect, which is two dudes talking about romance anime. But
Yeah.
no, that's a big part of it, and the romance part is a big part of the character building that Kosei has. It has a big part of it. I mean, it's a little cringe, two dudes talking about romance or whatever. But no, even that little bit added to that character development, added to that character building, and it was because of the romance between Watari and Kari and Kosei. That Kosei and Tsubaki, for that matter, they were all four of them were able to grow.
Right, exactly. And I love the way that is illustrated. I love the way that they're able to convey that emotion not only visually but audibly as well. And the combination with the soundtrack of the show and with the way that it's animated. And in the first violin performance, I don't know if you remember this, but there was like it almost looked like there was cherry blossoms like floating in, and like there was just this beautiful visual of they're bringing new life into Kosei's life. And I think that that's super fucking cool. And like honestly, we can make an entire episode just talking about the animation or just talking about the music or whatever.
Hey,
but
this is that episode, Zach.
I know.
We're gonna go into it.
No, I know, but I'm
We're gonna
saying
go
like
into
all of these things we could sit and talk
Oh yeah,
about.
we can do
for, like,
multiple episodes, but no, yeah, we'll keep it concise for the most part at least.
Part
we'll
one.
try. Part one. But no, I know what you mean, and that's why, like Your Lie in April, man, listen, the dialogue that goes on, I love the dialogue.
I do too.
It's when we talked about this before, where in our super long origin story / music theory podcast, where it was like the dialogue that goes on when they're performing is basically just a literal representation of the emotions that are flying when they're playing. Like
Right.
when Kosei is sad, he's saying all these things or whatever in this monologue that you were able to hear in his head, and you hear the audience and what their reaction is, and that's just basically a visual or a little literal representation, if you were to put it in words, of what the music around them is doing, because obviously nobody is talking. But that color and the color is going to be used a lot, but that's the best way to describe the way that music is conveyed in a way that's digestible, not just by the music, but by words and by just its own language. Color, the color that you see, the pink and the greens and the dark blues and the purples. It's all sorts of this conglomerate color palette of how they're feeling. And you see some, like one of the examples we said was that there was one scene where Kosei was trying to prove to Kairi about don't give up or whatever, you're in the hospital right now, but don't give up, you keep fighting. And he was playing a duet with that girl, right? And then he was playing like really, oh no, was it the duet? No, it was either the duet or when he played Love Sorrow by himself. Actually, it might have been the duet, but one of those two. And he was playing like kind of harshly or in a way or whatever, and the audience was like, why he's playing in a way that he's trying to say something. There's a message. It's not to us, it's to one person. What is he trying? He's trying to prove something. What is he trying to prove?
Right.
And to a normal person, like, what? He just played some keys or whatever. But no, you can tell. You really can tell.
Right, and especially when you have been studying music for a really long time, especially the people who are judging those competitions and all of those types of things, they understand music in a way to where you can feel the emotion that the person who is playing has while they're playing, and it's not necessarily the emotion that the music is trying to tell, but also the music the emotion that the performer is feeling. And that becomes very difficult to discern for sure, because it's just like to somebody who doesn't really surround themselves with that type of stuff, they're not like living that type of life. It's just kind of like, oh, they're playing Love Sorrow, it's fine.
No, everything is cool. This sounds pretty. The booty doo. Hey, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But no, with that literal representation, you can get a wider audience to understand the type of emotions that are trying to be conveyed just by the music. So it really helps, and of course it has that that poetic aspect and the like the oh gosh, what was her name? Isa? No, not Isa. Isa is the dude. Amy. When she's like, ring and let it ring and let it ring, that stuff. And They're okay. Listen, the what we at first what we thought were like the rivals, right? The rivals, the Amy and Takashi or Aiza Takashi. Um, their role was interesting because it's funny because they saw Kosei as like this rival. Where Kosei didn't see them as anything, because
Right.
as a kid, Kosei was like, yeah, hit this, get this. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get first place. I don't even have to look at the awards. I'm just gonna walk off and I know I got first place. And that's kind of like what Kosei saw of them, but they saw Kosei as like this bar, this level that they needed to meet because at first they wanted to beat him, but in reality they found out that they wanted to be in the same light or as in the same, not the same, well, yeah, for sure the same level, but they wanted to exist in Kosei's world where they hadn't previously. So
Right.
it was about this proof and this about this the dialogue that they have of when they're playing, they're like, are you hearing this? Are you listening to this, Kosei? This is me. Don't forget about me, And it's very interesting
Did
to
it
see.
reach him?
Did it reach him? Yeah, did it reach him? Did it reach you? I hope it reached her. It's, oh man, it's very poetic. Very poetic. And I say that so much, but it really is. All the script writing and the monologuing and even in the manga, it's like you're reading poetry.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so cool to see the way that everything is described and portrayed. And oh man, I wish that I could put into words the way that I feel about the characters in this show, because there have been people in my personal life who have been that kind of person who is driving me to be a better musician,
Yeah.
or to be a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to see that as like a physical, or not a physical, but like see that represented as a different character, that just made the sad things even more sad,
Mm-hmm.
because, it feels like it's happening to you almost, because your life is so close to what that person's life is.
Yeah, and I mean this is like 20 plus episodes, so you're following these characters like all the way from beginning to end, from when they're introduced to when they're still staying, but we followed them for a very long time. This is what I was talking about before, of like the character development, the character attachment, and you were following them not just through their school life, but through the hardships that they go through and the troubles they have with life and with love, and you really feel like they're real life, and
Right.
one can argue that they are, because when you boil it down, their school life and that kind of type of aspect is just a different representation from how it is over in Japan, right? Because that is how school life is over there. Of course, this isn't really about a school life anime, but you know what I mean. It's a
Right.
real life representation of a fictional idea that might happen, that might
Yeah.
occur, that could occur in some elements in real life.
Right. Yeah, and it's just super. Oh man, I don't know if I want to get into the end yet. I don't know.
We have more to talk about before we get to the end, but
Yeah.
I got a lot to talk about when we get to the end. But yeah, no, it's tough. It really is. The character building and oh man, it's basically like all of them trying to move on from their past self. There's this image, and especially with Tsubaki. I want to talk about Tsubaki. I love her character.
I do too.
Her character as what she calls herself as, just, I see Kosei as just a younger brother, and that's the excuse that she uses to hide away from the love that she has from him.
Right.
And it's like this whole time it's just about this race of her trying to move forward. Her time is frozen, and her relationship with Kosei is just staying still. And if she just leaves it like that, he's gonna be away soon, because she says like music takes him away. Music took him learning piano, so music took him away from being able to play when they were kids. Music, he's gonna go to a music school far away, or whether that be overseas, is gonna take him away from her again. So it's this tough battle of like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to be able, what do I do? Because she's denying love, whatever, romance, but romance, yes, two men talking about the Notebook,
Two men talking about love.
But no, it's on paper it's a very interesting character that she has, where it's like she's stuck in time, and her time won't stop moving. But as soon as she starts accepting how she feels, she says like her time is moving, and it's slowly starting to move past of what she had once been. And I really love her character, and her development is insane. Not as first as a supporting character of Kosei, but the jealousy that she gets between Kosei and Kaori, and how just like how Kaori forced Kosei to move forward, she forced Tsubaki to move forward as well.
Right. Yeah. And it's really cool when you get to see these different characters kind of go on the same journey just in different ways. And that's what you were like, the situation that you were explaining is very symbolic of that, where you see Tsubaki, Kosei, and Kaori all going through this journey to try to better themselves. And they're all for different reasons. Kosei is forced. Kaori,
Tsubaki is forced to watch.
Yeah.
To watch it unfold and to see it just happening right before her, and she doesn't know what to do about it.
Right.
She's forced to watch.
And she and Tsubaki doesn't know Kaori's the reason why she's doing all of these things. Like she doesn't understand the motives behind the things that she's doing, because she was just told that Kaori has a crush on Wataru.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, Kosei is just friend A.
Friend A, dude. Yushin A. So great.
Yeah, it's just like, it.
It's weird. It's a third wheel of the anime.
Yeah, third wheel of the anime. Basically, my entire high school career.
But no, it's crazy. The romance is very important to the story. Whether you like to cringe about it or not is very important. So, as far as the other performances go, the character that really interests me a lot was I guess not her aunt, or his aunt, but the oh lord, what was her name? Seito Hiruko, which was his new teacher, the girl that came up with the daughter and the one that smoked. Her character was interesting because she was introduced as, oh man, it's crazy to think about, but she was introduced as the character who basically got Kosei into music.
Right.
Like, he was playing music, and then his mom wasn't really into it, like, oh, I don't really want my son to do it. But then she said to, or Seito said to, no, Kosei is talented. He should play music. And then all of this spiraled down, and then in deep within, she thinks, oh, this is my fault that Kosei is like this. And I know, like, oh man, that scene where she found out that Kosei was doing that first performance again, she a little teary-eyed, crying kind of moment, and it's like, he's back. He's trying to fight, he's trying to fight these inner demons that have been haunting him. And oh man, dude, I love her character so much. And just to move a little brush past, Lover's Sorrow is my favorite performance of the entire anime. I already told you this. My Lover's Sorrow is my favorite performance in the anime, even more than the final performance. As pivotal and as monumental as it is, Lover's Sorrow is my favorite, because that is where Kosei kind of comes to terms with his mom, right? And what she did and why she did it and all that type of stuff. And it's at that moment where he moves on, because it's his mom that's forcing him to not really be able to play music, because he has that internal cloud that's saying that I tried to do this for my mom, but my mom beat me. So then he said, as a kid, I hope you die, or something terrible like that, right? And even though his mom did that sort of stuff, that's still a terrible line to say, even to a parent who is like that. And he considered that punishment, right? And frankly, I don't know how much you want to warrant it, because his mom did some crazy stuff. But even then, it was that act, that Lover's Sorrows act, where you saw his mom in a different light. His mom, like, teaching him piano for the first time, like, you should be gentle with the piano, because the piano is like a baby, and oh gosh, dude, it's a very conflicting thing, because this antagonist that you thought it was the antagonist this whole time is in this different light of, like, she wasn't, like, there's an intention now. You see this new intention.
Yeah, you start to begin to see that she was just wanting you to do your best and be the best that you possibly could be. Obviously, she did it the wrong way.
Well, the reason why she did it was because like she was almost. Oh my god, dude! That scene where this one gets me a lot, but that scene where after he threw his paper down when he was a kid and he told her to die or whatever, and then he left, and then his mom was like, devastated, and he was like, and his, she hit him, and that was nuts. And then even Seto at the time was like, why would you do that? Why would you hit your child? And then, but his mom was actually super like sorry about it, and it was like, I really wish, I'm gonna be gone soon, My life is very limited. What's Kosei gonna do? He doesn't have a future. This is the future that I ended up giving to him, and now if I'm gone, then he's not gonna be able. Will he be able to pursue it without me? No matter what, the way she did it was terrible, right? But the reason why she did it was because she wanted him to be able to be the best. She wanted him to win awards. She wanted him to do that, but he
Right.
thought he was winning awards to make her feel better. But she wanted him to win awards so that he can be the best, so that he can sustain himself. Because he's afraid. Because oh man, the scene that I'm talking about now that really hurts is like, it's like, oh well, Kosei, when I'm gone, will Kosei brush his teeth in the morning, and will Kosei eat breakfast, and will he eat right, and will he be able to stay healthy without me? That type of stuff. That's
Right.
really, it's tough. When you get put into those shoes of like, what if you're expected to die soon, but you have a child and you don't know what they're gonna do, because when she died, he was like a 9-year-old, right? What is he gonna do? And he lives by himself. It's tough.
Right.
And of course she went super irrational, but that was just irrational thinking of her in the moment, like, shit, I'm gonna die. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? No, I'm just that's just the first thing that came to mind. That's the only thing she can do, and that's the only thing that she thought that she can bestow to him. So that was the reason why she did all that terrible things, and they were terrible things. And I'm not gonna say they weren't terrible things. You should never treat your child like that. But in the position that she was in, she didn't know what else to do.
Yeah, and when you're put in that situation, it's hard to not act irrationally, because I'm looking through.
Well, your judgment is clouded. You can't think right from wrong. You just have to think of something.
Yeah, you have to think of something, and she decided that she wanted to make sure that Kosei was the best piano player he could possibly ever be, and in doing so, she turned him into a human metronome. And she wanted him to be able to have all of these school opportunities and all of these job opportunities, but she ended up going about it in the wrong way, and then that ended up being the opposite of what happened after she passed away, which really sucked.
It does. I mean, you think, and then he had throughout the entire anime, he had that mental image of that being a punishment. But like deep down, when you think about it, I bet she was like super sad about it, like in the afterlife, or however way you like to think about that, right? She was looking down at Kosei like, I can't. My son is like this. I can't believe it. This is my fault, and that's probably devastating, to see your son, or your child or whatever. Like, imagine if you passed away for an unfortunate reason in an early age, with your son being at an early age having to deal with himself, and he thinks that you're a monster. He thinks that you're the reason why he's like this, and he thinks that you didn't love him. But that's not what she wanted. That's not what she was intended. She just couldn't think clearly. She just didn't know what to do.
Oh my gosh, you know what I just realized?
Mm-hmm.
The parallels between Kosei's mom and Kaori near the end of the series, like, that fucking killed me on the inside.
Listen, oh man, this is how it's a drama when when they did, oh my lord, when she was first hospitalized.
Yeah.
That was when she was first hospitalized. That was the moment where I think that was Lover's Sorrow. Yeah, that was Lover's Sorrow, where he finally got over his mom. And it's like, oh yes, let's go, Kosei, let's go. You're finally be able to play music again. Everything is great. And then, he's playing in the piano room at school when Tsubaki blows the door open and tells him the news, and he's running to the hospital, and then, oh Lord, dude, he sees Kaori in the hospital bed like he saw his mom in the hospital bed, and then Seito and then I think Amy's instructor are talking. Like, there's like a little scene, and it's like, it's sad that Kosei has to deal with this, but sometimes the only way to move forward is through tragedy. That's what I think. That's something along those lines is what the line was, and it's so tough to see because like Kosei had just gotten over it. He'd gotten over the image of his mom passing away, the hospital bed, and all that type of stuff, and now he's seeing Kaori like this. The same. And you see that parallel, like like the scene switching of like like Kaori is there and then it switches to his mom for an instant, like that stuff, because it's so deep and it's like, I don't know. If you don't think it's sad, what the fuck is wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding. But it really is. Like,
it really is.
Like, if you first for me, I mean, nobody likes the hospital, but I personally have like a massive fear of hospitals. I hate the ICU room. I
So do I.
hate being in there. No, I mean nobody likes it, right? But I have this really irrational fear of it. I don't like being in. My parents know I don't like being in there, so I don't ever go there. I it sucks, but I want to be with my family, but I can't. I physically can't. I don't like the silence. I don't like the beeping. I don't like the clock ticking. I don't like the soft breaths and stuff and this nobody talking. I hate that. So
Yeah.
I felt, when oh god, dude, when we were goosebumping about the music hall and stuff and how accurate it was. I was goosebumping from the hospital and the hallways, the
uncomfortable silence.
the uncomfortable silence, the footsteps, the clacking sounds of the footsteps, and the echoing through the hallways, and the moving of the medical tools through little dollies and stuff, or not dollies, but wheel tables and that type of stuff, and wheel beds and all that. I'm very familiar with it because the first time I ever experienced it was with my grandpa, and that was the first time I've ever been at a hospital for extended nights. So that's the reason why. That's where that trauma arose. I've being in the ICU for extended nights, being there, visiting often, being getting at a certain point being used to it. That scares me. It really does.
Right.
And I hate. I mean, nobody does, right? But
Yeah.
for
and
me,
yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from because I've experienced the same thing, and that I just came from Spokane not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not really going to get into too much detail about it.
You don't have
because,
to, no.
It's my own stuff, but like that's literally what I walked into. It's not the first time I've had an experience like that. Like, all of this shit that has happened over the course of the last couple of years. Going and visiting hospitals and all that kind of stuff is just truly it just is truly traumatic. But
yeah, to see it in anime, and to see him go through it, we can sympathize because we've been there before, but seeing this tragedy just unfold before him after he just risen from the thing that he was stuck on,
right,
and the reason he was able to break through it is now going through the same thing that he was stuck through, and it's this massive loop of just despair. And I mean, in a way, it builds more character and stuff, but it's really tragic. And sorry you had to witness it. I thought we were just gonna watch some piano concerts.
No, dude, no, it's okay because that type of internal dialogue that you have, especially going through something like that. I'm not new to that type of stuff, and that, and so to watch somebody who in a lot of ways is very similar to how I am and who I am, it just made it especially tragic for me because like I was just watching something happen essentially for the second time almost,
but in a different perspective.
Yeah. And watching the reactions just hurt so much.
Well, that's why it's so emotional, because it has that connection to it.
Right. Like this is this person who we thought was going to save Kosei and be able to turn his life around, turn him into the person that his mom wanted him to be, and just all of this stuff. And then now his one beacon of hope is on the brink of death, and you're just sitting there like, holy fuck, what is he gonna do?
Yeah, but I know, but on the flip side, I mean, it's tragic to say that, but it's because her hospitalization and the realization that Kosei understands that she has a disease and all this type of stuff adds a new layer of character development, because
Right.
now it's not just Kairi. Well, Kairi still pushes him, through the phone and whatnot, and having him visit or whatever. But it has him try to grow by himself now.
Right.
And that's a new type of development that Kosei, Kaori gave him that stepping stone, and now Kosei has to find the way to go through it without her, essentially. At least not without her being directly there. So, but at the same time, her hospitalization, like we talked about before, added character development for her as well. So there's a lot of it. You know, it's tragic, of course, but the writing is very beautiful in the sense that it brings these characters, it has them face these adversities and what they're going to do about it and how they're able to accomplish it, and we get to see that unfold. And it's tragic, but it's also very beautiful and very poetic.
Yeah, it's just hard to watch. You know, like
it's hard to watch, but it's a very important watch.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
I think this deserves another shot for me. Sorry, Zach, you get a witness.
No, you're fine.
It's okay. Drinking from this is actually very awkward because the hole is very small.
Just dump her down.
No, I know my. Let's relax. Okay, I'll just take another swig. Ooh. All right.
Gotta loosen up a little bit.
I loosen up a little bit because that was a very deep talk, but there's more to that in Your Lie in April. There is. There really is. And there's also, it's not just about tragedy, but it's about the character building from the other characters as well and how they're able to move forward. Like the sister from Takashi. So when the sister Nagi. So I liked her character a lot. If some people might say that she was just kind of like random to come up, not really that necessary, but she was a very pivotal point for it. In a sense, it was a way to represent kind of the teacher-student thing that Kosei didn't really get to experience himself because obviously he didn't teach. But at the same time, you able to witness the anxieties that Nagi was feeling as a kid. So it's really crazy to see, but I really enjoyed her character in the sense that she was able to she just had the whole thing with her hero being her brother, right? And her brother being entranced by something else. And it's because of that something else, which is Kosei, that his brother is stuck in this sad loop of not being able to do whatever. So Nagi and Kosei, so Kosei was teaching Nagi piano or whatever.
Right.
And it was a really cool dynamic to see of how it was like Kosei was able to be true to himself. He was able to speak freely in front of Nagi because Nagi's just a kid or whatever, but he was able to speak. Like I know when they were playing rock, paper, scissors to climb that shrine, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about, like Nagi was talking about like who he loved and, you know, and all that, all the happy kids and stuff like that. But no, her character was really good in not only just building herself, but also building her brother, but also building Kosei. So this is another way of like Kosei developing without Kaori, and it's really interesting to see. I genuinely really like that, and the performance that they did, the duet, was that proof, right? That proving like he came to Nagi to do a duet because Nagi was going to do a performance for a school or whatever for like a talent show type thing. Right. And he came to Nagi and said, "I want to do a duet with you." And then he had this whole plan of recording it or calling Kaori. So Watari called Kaori on his phone, on speakerphone, and then Kaori was just he had it pointed to the performance, and Kaori was able to listen to it. And this is around the time where Kaori was seriously hospitalized. She can barely walk, she can barely play the violin and stuff, and that's really getting her down. But Kosei is like, I'm gonna wake up slap you. You know, you can't just keep staying in this standstill. You need to fight because you taught me to fight. So I'm gonna go back and teach you to fight. So he plays this thing with Nagi, and they have this arrangement, but then it's really cool to see because now Kosei, while Nagi is sitting there doing the arrangement, Kosei starts to have a go with the arrangement.
Right.
And it's this massive full circle thing of him doing what Kaori instilled into him by doing a company performance, a duet performance, and him having a go, expressing himself onto the arrangement that they had worked on. And it was really crazy to see. And, it was really, one of the lines, I found it funny, but it was pretty harsh. It was like, I can't believe you would show a violinist who can't play a performance, and that's tough. I always think about it, like what if one day I have a tragic accident where my fingers break and I'm never able to play the piano. I always think about that, and it's scary. But it's really important. It's really important because now Kaori, it's like like Kosei was really satisfied. He was like, this is, you taught me to fight. You when I was down, you picked me back up and you made me keep going. You made me, no matter what, even if I didn't want to, you dragged me out of my room. You dragged me into the hall. You dragged me into the performances. You dragged me into all of these sorts of arrangements that I didn't want to do, and now I'm able to stand on my own 2 feet because of you. And now I'm seeing you like this, and what are you, a hypocrite?
Right.
You know, what was all of that for? So that's basically what that was, just this wake up slap. And I really thought it was so important to Kyrie's development, but also it's like, this is Kosei's height, you know?
Right.
He's risen so far. He's came so far, you know? You've watched so many episodes, like episode 18 at this point or something like that, or something nuts like that. You've come so far. You've watched Kosei grow so much, and now he's becoming, you know, not just looking up to Kairi as a role model, but now them standing on their own 2 feet, and now he's watching that role model deplete. Bars. And sorry, bad timing. Bars. But no, you know, what are you, a hypocrite? You know?
Right.
You pulled me when I didn't want to go. So I'm gonna pull you when you don't want to go, and that's what drove Kairi to, you know, be with her parents and look and say, I want to do this surgery. It might not work out, but I've decided to fight. You know, and it's that potential, it's that willpower that we're talking about in the last podcast with No Game No Life, right?
Yeah.
It's what makes humans strong, and it's that willpower. It's that not being able to settle for less. You know, if there's a will, there's a way, and we'll see how that goes, and however way that goes, we'll deal with it. And it's tough. It's really tough, and especially in her situation. You know, it's obviously fabricated and, you know, exaggerated, but
it's real enough to where you can understand what's going through their mind, like, and you can literally watch as they develop as stronger people and they develop as better people. And instead of Kaori picking up Kosei and slapping him in the head and being like, come on, let's do this shit, you know, now they're able to just sit there and support each other, and, you know, the dynamic completely changes because of that.
Oh yeah, the whole mood of the show changes, in my opinion. Even though it's a little bit of a dreary area, you know, her being hospitalized and stuff, but in my opinion, it's the most upbeat that the show has ever been, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Kosei is now up in this higher area of mental state, and he's, well, I wouldn't say happy because of the situation, but he has grown so far, and we've witnessed him grow, and now Kairi is now growing with him, and it's not just that Kairi is dragging him along, they're growing together. And that's why I think that it's very pivotal, very, very, very emotional, but at the same time, it's the highest peak of Your Lie in April, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The real selling point, the real adversity, you know, like when Wataru said in one of the scenes where they're walking, you know, when Kosei was feeling down or whatever, and it was like, look at the stars, you know, they shine bright at night, you know, the greatest stars shine bright, you know, in the darkness or whatever, or what was it? And at the face of adversity, those who persevere shine brighter. You know what I mean? Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's this tragedy that is tough to watch, tough to stomach, and tough to swallow. But it's a tragedy that forces them all to grow and to move past something. And, you know, we see that in the ending. You know, after the final performance, of course, but we see how they're continuing with their life, and they're not. I mean, sure, they probably grieved or whatever, but. Spoiler, but no, they grew and they are the person that they are now because of each other and because of the windstorm that Kairi was, and because they were able to move past, or they were able to get their frozen time to continue moving, you know, and Tsubaki wasn't finally truthful with their feelings. Kosei is finally fighting the demons that was stopping him to play music, and Wataru is Wataru. I don't fucking wait. What did he do? no, but he. Wait, what did he do again? But no, best friend role. But no, his role was still really good, and you see him grow as well.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know,
so it's not just sadness. It's really not. It's not.
But it's such a hard pill to swallow.
It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's not. It's sad, and it's very sad, and we both cried, and it was terrible. It was tough, and it was tragic, but it was still very uplifting at the same time because it's realistic and it's harsh, but reality is harsh. So this is kind of like it's bittersweet for sure. But oh man, I know the ending. Should we talk about the final performance?
Yes.
Let's talk about the final performance.
I know that you have a lot to say about this.
I have a lot to say about it. So, Zach, I will let you go first.
Okay. Well, honestly, like it's honestly even hard to think about just because of like how beautiful it was, and because of like, the fact that their first performance together was their only performance together, and the last performance is, them connecting with each other and being able to, not necessarily share a stage together, but like, it. Oh fuck! It's just so
No, it's
hard.
like no, it's that the symbolic connection of
Yeah,
him being able to play with her even though she's far away. It's that whole thing, right? Did my music reach her? I
Yeah,
think it
exactly.
did reach her, and they reached each other. So
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, at that time when he's performing, she's doing the surgery, so they're both fighting. They're both doing something that's incredibly high hurdle. But they're fighting. They're fighting. They're both fighting. They're both fighting their equal weights, and in a sense, they're in different places, but they're fighting together. She's trying to fight through her surgery, and he's fighting through this final performance, and that's why you see them together and they're performing and whatnot. And it's this beautiful thing, and tragic, all these sorts of emotions that are flying around. But it's a very beautifully composed performance.
Oh
It's
my god.
beautifully represented. The music, oh god, we're talking about all the time the music that they choose, but the music that they chose, Chopin Ballad Number 1 in G minor, number 23, I think it is. It's such a good piece. It's all sorts of emotions flying through, and it's a very long piece as well. It's like 8 minutes or whatever, but that piece is so perfect. I'm so glad they picked it because it perfectly encompasses the emotions that they're feeling. The slow start in the G minor of the sadness, and this is tough, but I'm gonna keep fighting, and I keep fighting, and the key changes, and then the uplifting, and then the reality that hits when she appears, and he's sad about it. He understands this is happening, isn't it? That she's this, isn't she? But then there's a point where the song the mood changes, and it's starting to raise to different keys, or not. It doesn't change to different key, I don't think, but it changes to a different tone, and it's like when she's plucking and stuff, and he's having fun, and then he's like, oh yeah, that's right, that's right. This is how we perform, and then he's having fun, and they're having fun, and they're having a performance, and it's this really beautiful composed type of arrangement of them two sharing this fictional stage where they're themselves, like there's this sky world type of thing, but they're just by themselves and they're just playing and they're having fun, and it's very beautiful and it's very poetic and it's very sad, it's very tragic, but it's also very happy and it's uplifting. It's all sorts of emotion that's bringing together, and from start to finish, I know that final piece from like the back of my mind because I've listened to it so many times from my own. I've rewatched that performance. It's in my Spotify, so it's in my car when I'm driving to work. I'm driving to work and like 9 a.m. I'm like, and like, oh, she comes here, but it's a very impactful piece, and it means so much to both those two, and it's very sad, but at the same time, it's also like they're together, and it's like this. They haven't been able to have this duet this entire time, because the first time was a tragedy, right? Like this, he was shit, and she was like, what the fuck, and like, oh, let's go again, so it was this whole thing. But this is this last performance that they're able to do, and they're not really together, but they are together though, in heart and soul, and that's what I found beautiful. So it is a sad performance when you look at it directly, but it's also a very beautiful and it's a very happy performance when you look at the models that they've used and the way they represent it. So you can look at it different ways. I think the first time you watch it's very sad, but the second time I'm watching it, because this is the second time I'm watching it with you, right?
Right.
And I talk about how the second time I watched it is a closure. So I've already cried my tears to it, you know what I mean? And I mean, I cried some more tears, but at the same time, it's different tears now. This time it's like that's right, this happened, and is this massive closure. And I know in the beginning of the performance, before it happened, he was freaking out. He was there was this massive chain of unfortunate events with like that cat dying, and that representing like kind of Chelsea in a way, which was his cat when he was a kid. All these sorts of sad stuff that was happening, and he was shaking. And Amy and Takashi, their rivals, whatever, they're like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like shaking. He's like, "I have to perform. I have to perform. I have to perform." And that's this massive anxiety thing that's happening. He's going up on stage and he's losing it. He's crying and stuff. And then and then Tsubaki. Oh man, this is my favorite part. And Tsubaki just sneezes, because she's like sick, and it kind of snaps him back into reality of like, that's right. I shouldn't be freaking out. My friends are here. Everybody's waiting for me to perform. And Kairi's fighting right now. What am I freaking out over? Kairi's fighting. I need to fight too. So when you look at it into that type of perspective, not just the sadness of, what's bound to come, when you look at it as a whole package of that whole performance being closure. Well, I guess closure was more the very final ending, but the closure of his troubles and tribulations. Everything from episode 1, everything that's happened, is like this encloses it. And when you look at it like that, it turns from something very sad and morbid to something very happy and something that you can look back into and something you can say, I'm glad I experienced this. I'm glad Kosei experienced this. It's unfortunate how things happen, but it was important, and now they're able to have fun and continue with life without being stuck into the ways that they were before. You know?
And just to have that type of powerful connection with somebody, and not necessarily just like together, but like, in your heart and in your soul and in spirit, and just like, yeah, it I don't know, it's just kind of tough to...
It's tough, but I don't want you to look at it as the morbid sadness way.
Yeah, exactly. It's bittersweet.
It is bittersweet. That's the best way to describe it, because obviously the happy ending that you want from all anime is that, oh, everybody's happy and she lives. Oh yeah, she died. Sorry, I didn't say that yet. Then it's tragic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's tough to say, but it was important that she died.
Right, because all good things must come to an end.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, in a way, it's like a storm that blew through Kosei's life, and forced him to change, and he did change. So in that sense, it's good. Everything is good. It's unfortunate because you want Kairi to, be alive. Of course, we all want her to be alive and still and kicking and whatever. But
yeah,
it was important that she was a storm that came through during the for an entire year, that forced Kosei to grow and forced Tsubaki to be true to herself and to force Watari to be Watari, but it's very important. So I don't want you to take away from Your Light in April that it was just sadness and just sorrow and despair.
Yeah, no.
I don't mean for that to be a thing, but I'm glad that you don't, because, you get the deeper meanings. I just need to elaborate it so I can prove to the people that it's not just a sad anime. It is a sad anime, but it's a very important anime to understand how life moves on, and it moves on brutally. It moves mercilessly and doesn't wait for anybody.
Right.
So if you just sit there and try to pretend like that time has stopped, then you're just not going to proceed, and you're not going to be able to live with yourself because you're stuck in the past. You think that you can't move on, and when you can't move on, that's when, you and I know very well, it's all about moving on. When tragic things happen, we move on because things happen. Right. It's just life. Things happen. So if we're not able to move on, then we'll just be stuck in this time loop of never changing, and everybody else around you, that's what the whole Tsubaki thing was. Everybody else around her is changing, and she doesn't know why, and she finds out why because I love Kosei and whatever, and she confesses, and it's super cute. Shout out to Tsubaki, by the way.
Yeah,
I shipped them day one. But as like, oh, this is a sad anime, but I shipped them.
yeah, and another really cool theme that they use in this show is that there are certain influences in your life, and there are certain people in your life that are there for a reason. Kaori was there for a specific reason, and she, in a way, fulfilled her purpose, and at the same time was able to grow herself and to fight the good fight. Because when you look at Kaori's story, she got diagnosed with this illness a long time ago, and she decided that she wanted to live her life to the fullest, and she wanted to, she was one of those...
This is part of the ending letter, the final letter, at the last episode, which is like, whoo, man. But no, you're right. No, you're right.
Yeah, and, she was one of those people in the audience watching the human metronome, and when she found out that Kosei wasn't playing anymore, she was like, I need him to keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
And she made it a mission. She essentially dedicated the end of her life to it. And she was fighting for him, and then adversely at the end he was fighting for her.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good closure, because at that point, like you said, like the purpose that she thought she was serving was to fight for him. But if that's it, and then if that was just it, and then she died, that would just be horrible. But because Kosei was able to grow and then kind of punch her back and say, no, you need to fight as well, that was like the biggest accomplishment, just this biggest closure of this package of like, is not if it, if it was just it just ended like that, like she completed her mission or whatever, and then she died, that would just, that story would have sucked. Frankly speaking, that would have sucked.
Yeah, but they both grew.
They both grew at the very end.
Yeah, and they were both fighting for each other in the end.
And that's what's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And that's one of the greatest things about this show, is that they were able to turn something that is very devastating and very sad into something very positive, and turn it into something that is very real. There are people who are in your life for a very finite amount of time, and I don't know, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and Kosei had these people in his life for a reason. And that was for him to grow and become a better person, and become a mentor to somebody who looked up to him, and become that influential person for a lot of people.
Yes.
Unbeknownst to him,
Well, I mean, he was a massive, like in the show, he was a massive figure in the musical space.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people despised him, but a lot of people looked up to him. And for him to just quit music abruptly, and to have that tragic tale of him, like, can't hear music or whatever, as the kids stop playing, they're like, what happened to the great Arima Kosei? And then he comes back and he plays that Chopin wrong note piece, and it's garbage. Frankly speaking, it was garbage. But oh man, it was so cool, because after he finished that performance, his rivals Amy and Takashi come like, what the fuck was that, dude? Like, what was that? I waited like 10 or so years, and this is what you come up with? And then he was like, yeah, I guess so. But, that just, I guess so. Well, shit. But no, but it's that, if that's what I perform, then I guess that's all I have now. And we'll just go from here, So it really is about just the clicking, the ticking clock that doesn't stop for anybody. The batteries stay in it, and it keeps moving forward, and it's being able to move forward with it. And that's really it, it's like, God, kill me for saying this, YOLO.
Oh God,
I'm sorry,
Why?
But it is.
Yeah,
you are only lie once. No, but no, you
in April.
Wait a minute. Hey, write that down. But it is, you only live once, and that was really the whole point that Kaori wanted, because she found out that she was going to die soon, right? And she was like, okay, I can do two things. One, I could sit here and grieve and sorrow and hate myself and etc., or I can live life to the fullest. I tried the contact lens that I was too scared to try, eat all the cakes that I want, and just pick back up violin and all that type of stuff. And she fought, and she tried to, for the final moments in her life, she made it the best moments, because that was the last moments she had. So she made it the best ones, and she wanted Kosei to understand that as well. And that's what's very important. So the underlying message for Your Lie in April is that
YOLO.
No, but no, yes, but yes, but no, but YOLO, in the sense that life is short, and you never know when something's going to happen that it might make it shorter. But in that sense, if that happens, what are you going to do about it? Wait, what are you going to do? Are you going to mope and weep and be a little bitch? Or are you gonna go out, fill the bucket list out, have a time? I was watching this anime, and it was about it was called Kami-sama ni Hatahi, and it's about this girl, this little girl. Holy shit, it's so. Speaking of tragic, this shit is tragic as hell, but okay, anyways. It's about this girl who appears in front of this guy named Yuta, This girl she proclaims herself as Odin, the god. And she says that the world is going to end in 30 days. And it's just about like him not really believing her, but she has this magical powers for some reason, and it's this kind of weird stuff, but it's really funny, and this is comedy stuff, but at the same time it's like it's funny and it's a comedy ridden because it's like the way they're going about it is that we're just going to accomplish a bunch of stuff.
Right.
It's if the world is, he's half believing, but if the world really is going to end, okay, she's trying to get him to, get like this girl and her dad to make up, and this his sister to make a movie, and all these sorts of things, tie loose ends and experience all sorts of fun, and that's what it was all about for the last 30 days of the world ending. It was just about having fun and not worrying about it, because the more you worry about it, the more of a state of panic you enter in. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for your mental state. It's not good for anybody's mental state. What are you going to do about it? The world's going to end. You can't do anything about it. You're not going to do anything about it.
Just make the most of it.
Make the most of it, because that's the best you can do.
That's the only thing you
That's
can
the only thing you can do. Well, the other thing you can do is mope and bitch about it.
Mope and be a bitch.
Mope and be a bitch. Or you can have a time.
Or you can have a time. Or you can become the person that you've always wanted to be. And I think Your Lie in April is a very perfect representation of Kosei becoming the person that he wanted to be, but he was too scared because he didn't know how.
Yes.
And that was very beautiful and very symbolic and very amazing. And yeah.
It was a ride.
It was a ride.
But it was an important ride. For both
I
of
agree.
us.
Yeah,
For both
I
of
agree.
us.
It was definitely an important journey to go on, for sure. But yeah.
But yeah, sorry for the sob fest.
I'm surprised I didn't cry.
Yeah, but no, it really is important. It's really important. It's an important watch because I didn't finish my drink. Sorry, guys, to disappoint you guys. I finished half of it. Don't worry, this will be for the drinking stream. No, I'm just kidding.
the drunk boy stream.
The drunk boy. I am planning that pretty soon. Although once this comes out, this would already have happened. But it give it a watch, and if you've already watched it, give it a rewatch, and think about what we talked about. Think about the finer details of things, and a different way to look at the show that you might not have done it previously, right? Because we're just the all greatest being that knows all of storytelling, and we're gods, and we're better than you. Yeah, we're both in agree. He gets me. Yeah, exactly. We're just better. But no, we definitely see stories. Well, we definitely go into stories a little more in depth than one might casually watch. And if you watch it casually, that's fine, because it was a good show. It was very sad. It was very dramatic. And I don't know how you dare watch it casually. But I mean, if you did, then you did.
Yeah.
If you did, then you did. But
You're also a sociopath.
Maybe you should get that checked out. But no, if you listened this far, give it another watch if you haven't. If you watched it already, give it a rewatch like I did, and think about what we talked about, and think about why the songs they chose were played, why the dialogue they said was said, why Kaori did what she did, and why Kosei did what he did, and why his mom did what he did. Think about the finer details, because you already enjoyed the show. You already had a go. You already watched it, casually or not.
And cried.
A lot. So now go back to it. And I mean, like I said before, I was so not over it. I watched that show like when I was like sophomore year of high school. I'm like, fuck me, dude. And I'm so sad, boy. But when I rewatched it with you, I mean, I was kind of over it. At least I thought I was. When I rewatched it with you, that was the ultimate closure.
I haven't rewatched it yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I rewatched it for your first watch, right? But that closure, just give it a bit. Let it sink. Think about it. I'm sure you'll think about it as time goes on. Think about this drawing, Zach. Think about these moving drawings that played music, Zach. And think about it as you grow up, and then maybe whether that be a couple months or maybe a couple years down the line, you say, you know what? Maybe you don't get me back on it, but maybe you do. You say, you know what? I watched this show with Arthur and I felt this way, and I know Arthur watched it and got some closure. I'm gonna give it a watch. Maybe watch it by yourself too. Have that type of experience. I don't know. Or maybe you watch it you watch it with someone else for the first time,
Oh.
And then you just sit there and watch them grieve in sorrow, and you're like, ah, no,
you're just like, ah, you sad fuck.
But no, if you watched it one time already, think about what we talked about today, and Give it another watch. That's what I have to say. That's what I'm leaving with. You know?
I promise the next episode won't be this sad.
Oh, no. Let's talk about more fun stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I felt like just with the theme of the Your Lie in April, there was ups and downs in this one. There was sadness and there was happiness, and I feel like talks like this need to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Between us, but between some people, and some people need to listen to that type of talk. Some people don't get that type of talk. Some people are too afraid to not talk about it, and I say, man, listen, life is your therapist. I don't know where I'm going with that, but it is.
Life is a highway.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, wait, DMCA.
Fuck. Beep. I have to beep that out now. No, I'm not going to do that. But
you're too lazy for that.
Yeah. But no, seriously. Talk with some people. Talk with your best friends. Talk with your parents. Talk about whoever you got to talk with. And, don't let that shit bottle up. Because it bottles up, it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty bad.
It's going to be pretty bad. But no, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining us on this roller coaster of a podcast for this episode. It was pretty tough. We're gonna definitely need a breather. Definitely gonna need to sit down and talk and whatever it may be. Maybe I just finished this bottle off stream. Fucking dude, pour one out, dude. Pour one out.
Pour one out for the homies.
Pour one out for the homies. But it was very important. Thank you so much for experiencing with us. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting us for 5 episodes now. We are having a blast having these podcasts and shows and just talking the shits. And, I'm going to keep getting Zach to watch anime, whether he wants to or not. We're going to watch Demon Slayer, Zach.
Hell yeah, we are.
Stop bullshitting me.
I'm sorry. I just got done with final week.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know. But no, we're going to keep going. I'm going to get him to watch more animes, and we'll keep having more stuff to talk about. But it's not just going to be about anime, as you can tell. It's going to be about music theory, apparently. But, about all sorts of things. So, yeah. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and leave subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, to the Uneducation Station channel, which is going to be the only channel that's going to have these episodes. So if you want to keep up, make sure you do that. At the time of recording, I don't have a SoundCloud prepared, but if it is, then check the description if you prefer audio. It's a little difficult to get it onto Spotify and to Apple Music and podcasts or whatever, like I said before. But we're working on that. It's something that's in the process, and it's something that's going to take a little bit of time. So please bear with us. We're both busy people. Right. And frankly, it's kind of a pain in the ass to do. And I'm like, ugh. Yeah. It's out of the way. And I think for now, the audio or the visual format is kind of something that we're going for. I mean, we spent so much fucking time on it. So for us, we're
we're always going to be changing. We're always going to be adapting to different situations that we put ourselves in. And I'm glad that you guys are willing to come along on the journey with us. It's been super fun, and I say this every episode, but I'm just really stoked. Like, it just...
Oh, yeah.
After the end of every episode, I'm just like, all right, let's film another one.
Fuck it. Oh, it's 2 a.m. Let's just go again. Fuck it, dude.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll just go grab another Red Bull.
Go another Red Bull from the Red Bull fridge. Let's just have a Red Bull fridge up here. No, that'd be a bad idea.
Bad idea for you,
Let's
not
just have
for
cocaine
me.
in my room. Yeah, let's go. No, but seriously, thank you so much. Again, there's a Ko-fi link in the description if you'd like to support us directly. Otherwise, give us another listen. Let us know if you liked it in the comments section. We'll read all. We always will read all of it, and we'll take consideration of what you have to say. Like I said, I don't like metaing and breaking the fourth wall, but these are recorded ahead of time. But we still will read them as it goes, and we'll take everything into consideration.
Yeah, and
you want us to talk about like Logan Paul? We'll talk about Logan Paul or some bullshit like that. Fuck it, dude. Let's just talk. We'll talk about anything. Yeah. At first, this was an anime podcast. Then the first episode, we didn't talk about anime, and it was at that point where we realized this is not an anime podcast. But the next three episodes were anime, so I don't know anymore. Now we're 3-2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, like, since these are pre-recorded, there's going to be a little bit of a gap between when you leave those suggestions, and one of us will end up replying to most of the comments if they come to like ideas for videos or like topics or that type of stuff, depending.
For sure.
But yeah, there definitely will be a little bit of wiggle room between when the episode airs and when it's recorded.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. So if you want to keep up, make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe to my channel.
Make sure you hit that bell notification. Subscribe. Smash the smash subscribe to the like button. Man, let's just We're gonna keep having a time.
Let's try to hit 5 likes.
Let's try to hit 5 billion likes. Let's
No,
just
5.
Let's
just 5.
Let's pass Despacito.
No, 5.
Wait, doesn't Despacito have like the most dislikes? Wait, what is it again?
I don't know.
But we will continue to shoot the shit and talk about anything.
Yes.
So if you're down for that, make sure you stick around. And yeah, I mean, this is the only time. This is the first time I've done it, but make sure, or I've said it, I think. But if you want to hear more from us, follow us on our social medias and stuff. So that's something I don't really promote. I never really like doing that, but I figured might as well. Shameless plug. Why not?
Yeah.
For me, you might know my Twitter at Anuki.
Yes.
Clean at you know your boy, but and then twitch.tv/Anuki, but hey, I'll get that sorted out. But no, follow me on Twitter. That's the best way to get to me at Anuki. I stream every weekend.
Wait, what's my at? I don't even remember.
Well, I wasn't gonna plug your Twitter because you don't use it, but your Instagram.
Oh yeah.
You're trying to use it? No, you're not. Don't lie to yourself.
I'm trying to.
I don't see you on my timeline. And I'm on Twitter 24/7. I don't see no Zach Philly 44.
It's such a stupid Twitter handle. Anyways, my Instagram is at ZachPNW. So, and there might be an underscore, there might not be an underscore. I don't remember.
It'll be in the
below.
description.
Yeah,
so if you'd like to see more of us, you can do that. But otherwise, stick around next week for the next episode, and we'll have Zach. We might have a time.
We might have it. Oh,
we might have a time. That's gonna get old really fast. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Peace.
Yes. I'm gonna go cry now.